We turn now to a new ABC News Washington Post poll showing a remarkable turnaround on gays in the military. President Clinton issued his Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy 15 years ago, allowing gays to serve as long as they didn't reveal their sexual orientation. Back then, less than half of Americans supported the idea of letting gays serve openly. Today, though, 3/4 of Americans say they support it. And Ron's back over from the news desk with a look at where things stand today.
Well, David, back in 1993, that policy was essentially a compromise permitting homosexuals to serve in the military as long as they remain quiet about their sexuality. It was highly controversial at the time. Now, even as public support for gays in the military grows, the debate rages on.
I believe the policy I am announcing today represents a real step forward.
In a military career that lasted nearly 3 decades, retired Navy Captain Joan Dara was never asked, but today she is more than ready to tell.
I was in the Navy probably 8 or 9 years before I came to accept the fact that I was gay, and at that point was doing pretty well in my career, so I opted to stay in. But for the last 20 years of my career, I obviously ended up living pretty much 2 lives. I had to keep my personal life completely separate from work. I would go to work, and if my partner needed to call me, I would ask her to have a coworker call me rather than have her call me at work.
Captain Dara maintained her 2 lives, always living in fear that her secret would one day be revealed.
When the Admiral would call me into his office, 99% of me would be certain that he wanted to talk about something operational. But there was always a little fear in the back of my mind that somehow I had been outed and that he was calling me in to tell me that I was being fired.
Captain Dara was never fired, but many others have been. More than 12,000 gay men and women have been dismissed from the armed forces since Don't Ask, Don't Tell was signed into law in 1993.
It's not been working as it's supposed to because of abuse and lack of enforcement at the command level, and because there's really no such thing as don't ask and don't tell. There's ways that people can suspect, guess, and know people's sexual orientation whether or not they say it. So it was a flawed policy to start with.
Senator John McCain is willing to have the policy re-examined, but he stopped short of recommending a full repeal.
I'll be glad to have it reviewed, but I have to hasten to add, from my recent conversations with military leaders, they don't see any reason to change it.
I promise you guys I will come.
Senator Barack Obama favors ending the policy. Some in the military say if homosexuals were allowed to openly serve in the armed forces, it would have a detrimental effect on unit cohesion and morale.
Right.
But for veterans like Joan Dara, a repeal could not come quickly enough.
I loved the military. It was great. I had wonderful opportunities, and it was a wonderfully positive experience. Living under Don't Ask, Don't Tell added a tremendous amount of stress for me and other people that lived under it and are living under it today.
And Dara will testify next week at a House Armed Services Subcommittee hearing on Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the policy, including its impact on national security of the thousands of men and women in the service who were discharged under the policy. 800 were classified as having mission-critical skills, including dozens of Arabic translators, of which the military has an acute shortage.
Yeah, and Claire, you were covering the Clinton White House back when this was passed. So divisive.
Yeah. It was incredibly divisive. It's amazing how much public opinion has changed, and military opinion has changed, but it's not clear anybody's ready to do anything about it.
Well, the public opinion comes first, and maybe the policy follows.
Yeah, next president. We'll see.
In a flash, be the first to know what's coming up on Good Morning America tomorrow with the GMA Daily Flash email. All the great insider details you want to know from GMA. Go to abcnews.com, click the GMA page, and sign up for the Daily Flash. And you can even enter to win the weekly GMA Flash gift bag giveaway. Sign up now.